Hi, I'm going to be making a card using Not Too Shabby Let's Do Coffee stamp set. Also, I wanted to let you know that this month in May there is a Coffee Lovers Hop, which will be lots of giveaways, and you can find out more information on the Coffee Loving Paper Crafters Facebook group or coffeelovingcardmakers.com. I'll have more information about the hop later on in my video and also in the description box below. I'm using these Kaiser Craft fine tipped gel pens. I just froze the image so that you could see how very detailed that tip is on that gel pen. Because this image is very fine and very detailed, I wanted to use some type of coloring medium that I could actually get into those very small areas. I'm not that good with alcohol marker coloring, so I got these out and I'm really pleased with the result. They're very bright and they're very vibrant, and I was even to do a little bit of blending. I was surprised. The cardstock that I'm using is Brutus Monroe Ultra Heavyweight Not Your Mama's cardstock, and the ink is Brutus Monroe Raven ink, which is a black ink that is alcohol marker friendly, watercolor friendly. This set of gel pens has pastels, metallics, and glitter colors. Now the pastels to me aren't that much of a pastel. They're more bright, but they're still a nice set of pens, gel pens. And I'm just following along here with the stamped image. It already has everything in a nice detail. All I have to do is just highlight those things that are already stamped. And also the coffee drinks here, I was able to color. So for example, you might think of this as a mocha frappe, or it could be another favorite coffee drink. So I made this one. It almost reminded me of the colors of a root beer float, but it turned out really nice. And then I made one more the browns to make it more like a chocolate, and then I made one with pink to make it more like a strawberry. Although you really don't have strawberry coffee. But I know at one time, the most well-known coffee chain in the world had this caffeinated drink that was pink. So use your imagination, folks. This set has some desserts, like a cupcake and I made it into like a raspberry torte cake, and a little espresso machine. And again, I wanted to let you know that if you check out Coffee Loving Paper Crafters on Facebook or coffeelovingcardmakers.com, you will be able to learn more about the blog, which is the Spring Summer Coffee Lovers Blog Hop. It's from May 22nd to May 29th. And there's a ton of prizes that they give away, during this hop. So I would encourage you to check it out. The more you comment, the more likely you are to win something. And they pick the commenters randomly from across all the different projects to win a prize. So that's a lot of fun. And this card, which is made using a stamp set from Not Too Shabby, obviously is a coffee inspired card. This is actually the first stamp set that Not Too Shabby released. It's called Let's Do Coffee. And it has a nice display case there if you ever wanted to make it look like a little shop, like a little coffee shop. Also from Not Too Shabby, I purchased these Slimline dies from Trinity Stamps. The one has scalloped edges and banners in the middle, and the other has stitched rectangles, and on the inside it has the 3-window frame. So I pre-cut everything ahead of time. I've got my Slimline base, and my first layer, and this is all from that die set from Trinity Stamps. And I liked these papers because they featured coffee cups. So I'm going to adhere my images to these windows. I am going to, pop the window frame die up so that it has a little bit of dimension by using foam tape to pop that up a little bit. So right now I'm just putting down my first layer, which is almost like a turquoise color, and then I've got this pinkish purple color, which matches really well with the pattern paper that I'm using. Here are all the little elements colored. I just used my scan and cut to cut those out. Okay, and here I am taking foam tape and propping up the window so it gives a little bit of dimension. It kind of makes it look nice. Then with the background inset inside the frames, it just gives it a nice look. So I'm going to pause and skip through this section because nobody really needs to see me applying tape to the back of my window die here. I got all my phone tape put onto my window frame die. I'm going to use Beacon 3-in-1 adhesive to go ahead and right over that foam tape, I'm going to just apply that adhesive. Well, what that does is it gives you a second or two to wiggle and maneuver and make sure that your die cut is straight, because if you're going through all of this trouble to create this slimline die with all of these different layers, you want your layers to be spot on. You don't want them to look crooked, and sometimes when you just use straight foam tape, it clings so quickly. It's not very forgiving. It doesn't give you a chance to make any last minute adjustments. And so I'm just lining the papers up with the pieces that they came out of. You don't have to do it that way. You can have them sort of randomly placed, but I thought it looked nice this way. So, and because I have the window frame popped up, it does give it sort of like an inset look. Now I'm just going to go ahead and adhere the little images inside these windows, starting with the barista. She's got her 2 different coffee drinks in her hands. I'm just using art glitter glue to adhere this straight into the little window pane. The next thing I have is a little special sign, and I'm going to put a cupcake on there. And then I've got an espresso machine, which I'll put in the final window, and here we have the cake and the different frozen drinks, coffee drinks that are also going to be displayed. And I have a sort of like a latte in a cup and a mug, and of course there's a real cute bow that goes right on her hair. It looks really cute. So now that I have an idea of where I want these components to go, I can go ahead and glue them down. And then later I'll be putting a sentiment in that last box. Stamp set came with 2 sentiments, and I'm using Let's Do Coffee. That's the sentiment that I'm using. And then Jamie had sent me another set of coffee sentiments. They're sort of mini, smaller. I think they'd be really good for the inside of the card. I'll just go ahead and stick with the sentiments that come with this stamp set. Again, this stamp set was created by Not Too Shabby. It's Jamie's first stamp set she ever launched, so it's pretty cool. And when she asked the design team which stamp sets they would like for creating cards that are themed with coffee lovers to go along with the hop this month, this was the stamp set that I selected because I've always thought it was so adorable. I can remember when it was first released and I watched everybody make their cards. But lately, when I go to make a card, I don't watch videos of how other people are using those stamp sets. I just go straight in and do my own thing. And then maybe afterwards I'll watch, or maybe if I'm hung up on a certain thing, like how to use the alcohol markers to color in the small areas, maybe I'll watch one or two sections here and there. But if it's a stamp set that I'm using, I don't watch it because I don't want to even subconsciously be copying somebody else's style. I think as a design team member, it's my responsibility to come up with new or original, at least, styles of designs. There's this really big cake that comes with this set. It reminds you of a torte like they make in Germany, so I made it raspberry. And I'm just getting the foam dots stuck on that right now. So not only does the barista lady, she's also stuck on foam dots, so she pops up a little bit. So I'm going to put the last little element on here. This is a little espresso machine. Next I'm going to emboss Let's Do Coffee. And I'm using just a piece of scrap paper here, some VersaFine Clear Nocturne ink. You don't have to use embossing ink when you're using this ink. It stays wet long enough that you can just emboss right on top. I've got Brutus Monroe clear embossing powder and icicle, and I'm just going to go ahead and heat emboss those and then trim them and come up with one for use on the card. Really, this is the end of the card here. I'm just going to go ahead and trim this down a little bit so that I can, and I use one of these dies that cuts out your sentiment. I find that helps me keep things straight. Otherwise, I'm known to kind of cut at an angle. And this one, it sort of made just the little fishtail on the end, which I like that look. That way it's not perfectly symmetrical on both sides. I just tuck it there on that last panel, and I'm just going to tuck it in there. I'll have some pictures at the end, some still photos of the cards that I made. I made 2 different cards using this set. It'll give you some ideas and hopefully some inspiration. I think I mentioned earlier that the Slimline dies I purchased through the Not Too Shabby shop. Those are from Trinity Stamps. Yeah, the scalloped one and the rectangle stitched. And then you can buy this stamp set at Not Too Shabby. One thing about Not Too Shabby, I want to let you know, they do have a rewards program. So the more you buy, you get free points. There is a discount code in my description below. They also can be found on Facebook, and it's nottoshabbyshop.com. There's a special during COVID-19 of free shipping on orders of $35 or more. Please stay tuned for some still shots of the cards that I made. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe, and that way you'll be notified of when I reach my 1,000 subscribers, at which time I'll be having a huge giveaway. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.